You can see that all of the pink units in here, these represent the very youngest lava flows that erupted at the Yellowstone volcano.
A limited number of visitors are now allowed back into Yellowstone National Park.
3 major eruptions in the past, the super eruptions.
Fear is a primal human instinct that often arises from the unknown and unpredictable forces of nature. While there are many natural disasters that people fear, the prospect of a supervolcanic eruption at Yellowstone National Park looms as one of the most terrifying. Such a catastrophic event has the potential to wipe out life on a scale never before seen in modern times, and few people are aware of the danger it poses. The recent news that Yellowstone has experienced over 1,000 earthquakes in less than a month has raised alarm bells, leading to the closure of the park and a warning from officials. Could this be the sign of an impending disaster? Join us as we delve into the mystery behind Yellowstone's recent seismic activity and unravel the secrets of this menacing supervolcano. Yellowstone National Park is a legendary gem among the crown jewels of the United States. Established as the first national park in the country on March 1, 1872, this sprawling natural wonderland is renowned for its immense size and unparalleled collection of geothermal wonders. Spanning across the northwestern corner of Wyoming, as well as partially in the southern part of Montana and the eastern part of Idaho, Yellowstone is home to the largest concentration of hydrothermal features on Earth. The park's unique location is the result of millions of years of volcanic and seismic activity caused by the gradual movement of the North American plate. This geological phenomenon has created a hotspot where a dome of magma lies just beneath the surface of the Earth, adding to the mystique and allure of this iconic park. And the Yellowstone region is no stranger to apocalyptic eruptions that have left their mark on the planet's history. Over 2 million years ago, a massive subsurface magma dome that had been silently growing beneath the Earth's surface erupted, unleashing a cataclysmic explosion that remains one of the most catastrophic volcanic events in history. The scale of the eruption was beyond human comprehension, with a staggering 600 cubic miles, 2,500 cubic kilometers of rock and ash being violently expelled. To put that into perspective, it's equivalent to about 6,000 times the amount of material ejected during the notorious eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980. Remarkably, scientists now believe that this monstrous eruption was actually 2 separate events that took place over a period of 6,000 years. Despite this, the region remained active and experienced 2 more massive eruptions approximately 1.3 million and 640,000 years ago, with the most recent one characterized by a flow of molten lava that released about 40% of the material from the initial blast. The aftermath of each eruption in the Yellowstone region is a stark reminder of the incredible forces that shape our planet. With each explosion, a massive caldera was left behind, created by the collapse of the magma dome that had been steadily growing beneath the surface. The third eruption in particular produced what we now know as the Yellowstone caldera, a colossal oval-shaped basin that dominates the west-central area of the national park. Stretching about 30 miles long and 45 miles wide, this geological marvel encompasses the northern 2/3 of Yellowstone Lake. And within this enormous caldera, 2 resurgent magma domes have been slowly taking shape. One lies in the north of the lake, while the other lies to the west and lies beneath some of the park's most famous hydrothermal features. Seismic activity in the Yellowstone region is off the charts, and the area is a hotbed of geological activity. Deep beneath the Earth's surface lies a network of interconnected faults that trace back to the park's volcanic history. Every year, the region experiences hundreds of small earthquakes, most of which are barely felt by locals. However, once in a while, a powerful quake will rattle the area, and when it does, it has a significant impact on the park. One such devastating earthquake struck southern Montana just outside the northwestern corner of the park in 1959, and it wreaked havoc on several of Yellowstone's hydrothermal features, including the famous Old Faithful geyser. For nearly a century, scientists have been closely monitoring the volcanic activity at Yellowstone National Park. In recent years, the ground in the park has been bulging and rising, which has sparked concern among researchers. This could be a sign that the dormant volcano is about to awaken from its slumber. A recent report from the United States Geological Survey revealed that the park experienced a high level of seismic activity in July 2022, the likes of which hadn't been seen since 2017. Park officials reported that there were over 1,000 tremors detected by seismographs, though none of them were of significant magnitude. The most powerful earthquake had a magnitude of 3.6 and was located nearly 18 kilometers beneath Yellowstone Lake. However, dozens of minor earthquakes were also detected and require further investigation. The USGS warns that this could be an early warning sign that the beast is stirring once again. So, are we on the verge of a Yellowstone eruption? That's the question on everyone's mind. The National Park Service reports that the Yellowstone area sees anywhere from 700 to 3,000 earthquakes annually, some of which go unnoticed. However, the recent surge in seismic activity has even the experts worried. State-of-the-art earthquake detection and monitoring equipment is being used by scientists to track the level of activity in the magma pool below. Beneath the surface, a reservoir containing a subsurface magma lake known as the magma chamber can be found in Yellowstone National Park. By analyzing the frequency and strength of tremors, scientists can determine how quickly the magma chamber is filling up with new material. The increasing intensity and frequency of earthquakes throughout the park could be a sign that a new batch of magma is being injected into the magma chamber. Despite these indications, it's still unclear what the future holds for Yellowstone National Park. One thing is certain, nobody knows for sure what the next move of Yellowstone will be. Furthermore, the USGS has made a remarkable discovery beneath Yellowstone National Park that is literally billions of years in the making. A massive reserve of helium, estimated to be 2 billion years old, is escaping from the park at an alarming rate, a whopping 60 tons annually. That's enough lost gas to inflate a Goodyear blimp every week. The Heart Lake Geyser Basin is one of the culprits behind the highest emissions of this precious gas. This astounding revelation highlights the rare occurrence of helium in the park, despite it being the second most abundant element in the universe. Here on Earth, helium-4, composed of 2 protons and 2 neutrons, is the most common form, generated through the decay of heavy elements like uranium. Helium-3, however, is a relatively rare variant, containing 2 protons and only 1 neutron, present since the planet's formation. Scientists can determine the origin of any helium they come across by analyzing the ratio of helium-3 to helium-4. The high concentration of helium-3 in Yellowstone's hydrothermal system provides strong evidence that the Yellowstone hotspot originates deep within the Earth's mantle and has a direct path to the surface. Scientists have found that the journey of helium-4 to the surface of Yellowstone is much more complicated than previously thought. A team of researchers from the United States Geological Survey spent a decade collecting gas samples from Yellowstone and analyzing their isotopic composition, including helium, carbon dioxide, and other gases. What they discovered was surprising. The amount of helium-4 emanating from Yellowstone is significantly higher than what would be expected in other regions, and a considerable portion of it is likely hundreds of millions or even billions of years old. Their calculations and analysis led the scientists to conclude that this gas originates from rocks within an ancient crust buried in the area, which was formed over 2.5 billion years ago and contains uranium and other radioactive materials that have been decaying over time. It is believed that the Yellowstone hotspot cut through this ancient crust around 2 million years ago, releasing helium-4 stored in the rocks and helium-3 from the mantle. While this latest discovery at Yellowstone might intrigue parkgoers, it's downright concerning for scientists. Helium and other noble gases are crucial in assessing groundwater sources. The more helium-4 present in water, the longer the water has been sitting in its surrounding rocks. However, this new research on helium at Yellowstone suggests that some of these assumptions, particularly when it comes to helium-4, produced by the steady decay of elements found in local aquifers, aren't entirely accurate. Helium is notoriously unpredictable and can seep into a system unexpectedly from surprising sources, like ancient rock pockets or magma sources. Scientists are now realizing that past calculations regarding dates, especially those related to aquifers near volcanic areas or earthquake faults, may be highly inaccurate due to the extra helium involved. And did you know that the Yellowstone caldera system goes off like clockwork every 730,000 years? It's true, according to the latest agency data, with the most recent eruption taking place around 640,000 years ago. That eruption left behind an enormous caldera measuring 56 kilometers wide and 80 kilometers long, with its north wall formed by the Lava Creek Tuff, a thick layer of volcanic deposits. The resulting pyroclastic flows generated by the eruption sent massive amounts of volcanic ash into the sky, some of which can still be found as far away as Iowa, Louisiana, and California. The USGS warns that if Yellowstone were to experience another catastrophic eruption, the consequences would be felt around the world. The eruption would generate thick ash layers that would cover large swathes of the United States, and the release of enormous quantities of volcanic gases into the atmosphere would have a significant impact on the global climate. Human activity, particularly agricultural production, would also be severely impacted for many years. When it comes to predicting the next move of the Yellowstone supervolcano, we can't rely solely on data from its destructive past. While research into previous volcanic eruptions can provide some insight, it's hard to draw accurate conclusions from events that took place so long ago. However, there is one clear piece of evidence that suggests something big is brewing beneath Yellowstone National Park: the continuous growth of a massive dome-shaped uplift. This evidence points to an increase in volcanic activity and has prompted officials to take drastic measures, including closing off the park to visitors and researchers alike. This partial lockdown was put in place to safeguard people in the event of a volcanic eruption, which could be closer now than it has been in the past 600,000 years. If Yellowstone National Park were to experience a full-blown volcanic eruption, simply shutting down the park wouldn't be enough to protect the surrounding human population. In order to ensure the safety of everyone involved, entire cities may need to be evacuated, as was the case during the last major eruption 600,000 years ago. While this kind of evacuation has never been attempted before, it may be necessary for residents of neighbouring towns and even states to relocate far away from the park. However, even with such extreme measures, there's no guarantee of success in the face of such a catastrophic event. A major eruption would be so deadly that it could devastate most, if not all, of the contiguous United States. So, with recent earthquake activity in the Yellowstone region on the rise, we need to start thinking about what we would do if the worst were to happen. Let us know in the comments what you think about the recent increase in earthquakes in the Yellowstone region.